Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. Today, I'll be speaking to Darlene Greene, who has over 26 years of experience in executive leadership position across diverse industries, including Vice President of Strategic Technology Partner at McAfee, I think it's called, Dean of Calvert Girls Academy, Director of Client Services, High Tech, Networks and Security, a Senior Director of Stem Cells Activation Technology. And during her 20 years of military experience, she held 3 commanding officer positions, including serving as base commander, overseeing 1,200 personnel. She's the co-author of a 2024 best-selling book, Become Empowered, Echoes of Grace and Strength, which I quite like that name, in which she discusses her passion to which she helps people elevate their GHK-CU peptide to activate their stem cells, repair their DNA, reverse age, and get out of pain through the latest biomodulation technology. Now, that was a lot, but I'm sure that Darlene was going to break that all down for us. So welcome, Darlene. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Grace. It's such an honor to be here with you today.
Thank you. Now, the thing is, this is like a lot of people probably thinking, well, Grace, you speak about breast cancer. What has this got to do with breast cancer? And I just want to start by saying it has everything to do with cancer and, and so much more. And Darlene was nice enough to allow me to see a testimonial of someone who was doing the stem cell treatment and how they've had breast cancer, how it metastasized from stage 2 to stage 4, and what she did and how she's actually reversed most of that, if not all of it. So, Darlene, take us on this journey, because this is something new. Probably none of my listeners or viewers have actually heard me speak about stem cells, but it's been something that I've always been intrigued about. So give us a rundown. What is all of this mean? What are stem cells? What does this all mean?
Such a great place to start. You know, stem cells are really what made us. When you look at the first 2 cells that came together, they were stem cells. And stem cells have this wonderful ability to become everything in your body and anything in your body. So they can become bone or muscle or cartilage or fat. They can become brain or lungs or kidney or liver, anything you need. So what's interesting about stem cells, however, is that half of them are dormant when we're 30. And almost all of them become dormant by age 60. So this is the problem. This is why we're aging and we're healing more slowly. And stem cells are such a huge part of our immune system that when they're no longer functioning for us, they're no longer available to repair and rejuvenate and regenerate damaged cells. They have all of these amazing capabilities. So one of the things that I looked into initially for my husband's early Alzheimer's and my autoimmune disorders was stem cell injections. We went out of country 4 times for IV infusions of stem cells, and very expensive, by the way. That was $10,000 an IV and very painful and not effective. We did it basically quarterly, 4 times with no results. Now, a lot of people do get results, so don't get me wrong. I'm not discouraging that at all. I'm just saying when I found out that we could use light therapy technology, the newest, the latest, the most advanced, the thing that's really kind of changing the face of medicine, to activate our own technology through the use of elevating peptides, I was super excited. I was also very skeptical. I will be very honest with you. I was very skeptical that you could put a patch like this on me and it would make a difference in my life. But let me tell you how it sort of works, and then it will make sense. First, I want to speak to that peptide that you talked about, though. GHK-CU has been proven and studied with double-blind placebo-controlled studies by Dr. Lauren Picard for 50 years. He will very likely win a Nobel Prize because his breakthroughs have been phenomenal. Most peptides are targeting on like one particular thing that they do, but this GHK-CU peptide This is amazing because not only does it increase stem cells, which is wonderful and healing and does a lot of repair work, but it actually resets 4,200 genes to their younger, healthier state. And let me just start with your audience, since they're so anti-cancer, with let's talk about what it does for cancer specifically, GHKCU. And you can get GHKCU several different ways, through infusions, through injections, or through this patch. What it does is resets programmed cell death of cancer cells, resets their cell death without affecting healthy cells. It actually repairs damaged DNA. And in fact, it resets 84 genes to protect against cancer. GHKCU also produces growth factors. It improves brain and nerves, including improving memory, promoting nerve growth, upregulating 408 genes, downregulating 230 genes, removing free radicals, very neuroprotective. It stimulates NGF and it increases BDNF. It improves heart health. And I mean, the heart health is amazing. It improves heart health by reducing fibrinogen and increasing myostatin. It increases healing and tissue repair. It protects lung cells. It improves skin and hair. And it lengthens telomeres. So for those in your audience who may not understand telomeres, you can kind of predict your lifeline with telomeres. If you can think of the end of a running shoestring, the little cap is like a telomere. And what happens over time is it shortens as cells are duplicating, and a little bit of it, the strands start to unravel. And what GHKCU does is it actually repairs those strands, and it actually lengthens the little telomeres so that you are living longer. So I will speak next to this patch and how this patch has been proven to elevate your GHKCU. It's patented. It's been the technology has been proven it's 20 years old. The technology that we're utilizing in these light therapy patches. That technology has been proven in over 90 clinical studies. I would challenge anybody to pick any supplement off your shelf and come up with a single double-blind placebo-controlled study, much less 90. Not only is this safe, there are no contraindications. And Grace, that's huge because a lot of your audience may very well be on a multitude of medicines, pharmaceuticals of all sorts, or going through chemotherapy or whatever, right? That's fine. That's fine. This is not going to interfere. No contraindications or drug interactions. It's made of organic materials and nanocrystals. We'll talk about this a little bit more. It's available in 87 countries. Just to put out there that this is, Australia, United States, you name it, right? And it's utilizing the very well-recognized and proven scientific principle of light phototherapy, which has been used successfully for 5,000 years. Now, I know you love getting into both alternative and both, all of the modalities. And I'm with you too. When we were trying to treat my husband's early Alzheimer's, I didn't throw out Western medicine, although they really had nothing to offer for him. But I did try everything else from, hyperbaric chamber, ozone therapy. We changed the diet, we exercised, we drank good water. We did everything you could do. And inevitably all the science kept pointing to stem cells. So this patch taps into, if I were to tell you, how when you go out in the sun, your body makes vitamin D. We know this, or melanin from a suntan. This is nothing new. And also we know if I were to look at you with night vision goggles, I would see light. Your body actually glows with light. And that's a really beautiful image, actually. And I love that image, especially with your name, Grace. So what this patch is doing is it's actually reflecting your own light back at a very specific light wave length. And that wavelength is then stimulating a targeted biochemical response. We have a various line of patches, and they basically elevate a different peptide. But there's one particular patch that's elevating the GHKCU. That's the mama patch. That's the one that everybody really starts with and should start with. The patch then has been proven to elevate that copper peptide in blood tests. And then there have been other scientific studies. And what they have found is that it has caused cellular repair. It's rejuvenating, regenerating, and repairing cells. They have found that 24 hours after putting this patch on, you have 4,000 genes reset to their younger, healthier state. It is delivering pain relief. It's reducing inflammation. It's increasing energy and vitality and supporting wound healing. It's improving sports performance. This is why over 300 Olympic athletes were wearing our patches in the 2008 Olympics, including big names like Michael Phelps and Serena Williams and David Beckham, and more recently, Tom Brady, Kansas City Chiefs. You know, lots of big names are wearing patches because they want every ounce of sports performance they can, and they want the recovery. The faster recovery from exercise is huge. Improved skin appearance, improved mental clarity. It's really phenomenal. And I have to say, one of the things that I love about these patches is it helps to balance hormones. You know, the hormone system is so important in our holistic health. And as someone who went through menopause and struggled with everything from weight gain to hair falling out, it was a big deal. And when I got those balanced and my sleep improved and my energy improved, and I have no longer any symptoms of 4 autoimmune disorders from chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, POTS, rosacea, just gone, that was a huge thing. But what I really want to share with you is something that I think could help your audience. I was depressed. And I know you talk about fear, and you talk about our challenge in healing holistic and getting our arms around anxiety and stress management. And I love your podcasts are not just for people with breast cancer or fighting with cancer. They're for everyone. I have listened to like 10 of them, and they're all infinitely valuable for anyone. But I want to say that I was very depressed. My husband had early Alzheimer's. My husband was 64 when diagnosed. Like, we're too young for this, right? So what these patches did for me was they completely elevated my mood. They lifted me out of depression in like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I don't even know when it happened. And I at the time didn't really even understand how that could happen. But since I've actually seen a study that they did on the brain, it was a 2019 study. They did EEG imaging of the brain. And they saw, you could see red in the very first image of before they started patching. That redness was inflammation, hypercoherence, poor communication between the left and right hemispheres, ADHD, PTSD, autism, like not a good functioning brain. 3 weeks later, you could see the color mapping changing. And 6 weeks later, it was completely different. And what that study proved was, yes, it elevated GHKCU, but it also supported that nerve and cell generation. And it improved the nervous system. It lowered anxiety. It actually improved memory, focus, cognition, and decreased that brain inflammation. And I don't know that we ever think of depression or anxiety in terms of inflammation of the brain. I never had. And so when it just sort of magically disappeared from me, I mean, I've gone to a lot of talk therapy, cognitive therapy, EMDR. I've done a lot of stress management techniques, right? But it never dawned on me that inflammation could be contributing to depression or anxiety. So when we've watched people start patching kids that are autistic, and all of a sudden they are dramatically improved in a matter of weeks, it has been remarkable. The other study I want to cite is this cardiovascular. Well, it's a vascular study. It's a study on the vascular system, and in 6 weeks, they proved that the cardiovascular system was acting as if it were 8 weeks younger. So cardiovascular disease and stroke and, number one cause of death, right? And I think cancer is number 2. I think it's like almost 1 in 2 people have cancer. Cancer is huge. So don't get me wrong. I'm not going to shift subjects. But I do want to point out that, part of what can help cancer is having a strong vascular system and cardiovascular system. And one of the things that GHKCU does is it helps new blood vessels form to promote proper circulation. And it prevents blood from clotting too much, and it restores the integrity to the vessel walls. So anyway, that's a lot. I'm going to take a breath, make sure that you don't want to say something before I press on, and I'll talk specifically about some amazing cancer stories and testimonials, and some of the other patches that we have that actually also fight cancer, and more.
Wow, I've just been sitting here writing so many different things because, like I said earlier on, this is something that I've always been interested in, and not really understanding it. But I didn't push it on a side, but I didn't also say, well, I know everything about stem cells. You sort of hear it, prior to 20 years, it was something like almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was almost something that was like taboo in a way. And it wasn't taboo because it's a natural thing that the body produces, like you were explaining. It's something that it's already there. It's not that we're bringing in something that is external. And again, we're not here to bag or to put down Western medicine, but let's be real and say 90 to 99% of what they give you to heal is external. It's not internal. It's not something that they say, hey, we call it chemo, but it's actually something that your body produces. No, it doesn't. It's radiation, but it's what your body produces. No, it doesn't. But we're not dismissing that. We're not here to say don't do it. We would never be. We're not doctors. Well, certainly I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to sit here and say, please don't do it. But how Darlene said, it's great because knowing that people are going through those other types of, healing mechanisms, using the radiation, the chemotherapy, things like that, this is something that would really actually help. And not only does it help the body physically, and it's really interesting how you mention the depression and all of that, because I just finished a podcast with a lady who had a double mastectomy. Now, she told me herself, you do not go in there and come out of there hunky-dory going, this is great. You go through a whole process emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, as well as physically. So why not put something that's in your body to help you? Like you said, it helps with that depression. It helps with that anxiety because already your body is producing that, fight or flight. And we're living in a moment where most of us are living in a fight or flight 24/7, which isn't healthy. But why not put something back into your body that actually helps with that? So I really appreciate that. And like how you said, the be all end all, which you called it the GHKCU, and it seems like it's something that via the patch, it just doesn't work on one particular thing, but it can work on other things around it. And that's what we need. That's what we need to heal, because it's not just, one part. And it's also because, unfortunately, now there's statistics that show that a lot of people get a secondary cancer. So why not heal something while you're going through the process of your the primary cancer, fixing that and making sure that you don't create a secondary cancer along the way. So I just wanted to say that. But yes, please share some cancer studies and testimonials, and obviously also the patches. Thank you.
So one of the things I really should say, because there's, LifeWave products are not intended to cure, treat, diagnose, or prevent diseases, right? We're a general wellness product. We're in the same category as a Band-Aid because there's no drug in our patch. Even if they do these things, they're not intended to, right? That's our disclaimer. But I will say this. What they're doing is they're tapping into the body's innate wisdom. The body knows how to heal. And one of the things that I love about it is that GHKCU is naturally occurring in our body. So we're helping it elevate and activate. And the thing that I think we sometimes, we in pharmaceuticals, we have a tendency to sort of play God. We don't really understand the impacts. There's always side effects. There's, what better way than your own body to help heal emotionally, physically? I mean, you talk all about the mind, body, and soul. and the importance of all of those. And I'm here to tell you that this helps all of those. And as an example, and I know you have seen this testimonial. There was a beautiful woman, Ashley Palmer. She had 2 little kids, and she had been diagnosed with breast cancer in October 2021. Initially, it was stage 2. They did a mastectomy and traditional treatment from February to July, but we're not able to clear it. And so then it metastasized to her hip, her spine, her pelvis, and now she's stage 4. And then the doctors in November of 2022 said, I'm sorry, radiation is not going to work for you. So she then began patching end of January 2023. And she put that stem cell activation patch, the one that elevates the GHKCU, on her pelvis and in the spine area. And I would say, I think it was just 2 to 3 months, she found she was able to run again. Her skin was clear, her bones were healing, her bone density, and she had a clean scan. I mean, and her TMJ was better. She actually couldn't even eat. She was on a puree diet. She couldn't even eat solid foods. The stress had caused TMJ. I bet she's not the only one of your listeners who has had that level of stress that's causing all sorts of things. So what's happening is you've got that anti-anxiety occurring that's helping, all of it's combining to help the body. There was another woman, and she was 57 years old, Danielle. She had fibromyalgia for 20 years. She also had stage 4 cancer. She had started with endocrine therapy, which maybe some of your people had done, and that was causing her constant hot flashes. That was honestly driving her so mad that she said, I wanted to end my life. She said it was like I was almost suicidal. It was so awful. She was at a point where she was bedridden, and basically all of December and January bedridden. She then began patching. She patched with 5 of the different patches that we have, because many of them can contribute to improving the various areas of cancer. So she, some are targeting organs, some are elevating the epithelum peptide, which is fantastic and actually has also cancer prevention properties. Anyway, she began to patch, and she said basically they were getting ready to bury me, and now she is feeling great. She is living life like 10 years before. She's shopping, she's showering, she's feeling fantastic. And so we had a stage 4 that had spread to breast, lymph nodes, and spine and hips, and now she's up and running around. She had been on fentanyl patches, 75 milligrams a day, and she started cutting them in half, in thirds and fourths, and then she was on 10 milligrams, and then she's on it every other day. So she's gone from being bedridden to, and this is the only thing she changed, just the patches. So I mean, I love the story. This is a woman named Nikki. August of 2022, she gave her testimonial, and this woman was told she basically had lung cancer. So this is not breast cancer, but it is now through the lymph nodes, through her lungs, down into her intestines. And if you were to look on my website, you could actually see her PET scan. It is absolutely overwhelming. She could no longer swallow. She had to take food through an IV, and they said, you have 4 to 6 months to live. She began, she could barely speak, actually. She began to patch, and immediately she noticed within weeks her skin started improving, and then her test results started showing improvements. And in 3 months, her menstrual cycle was regular, and 5 months, her nails are thicker and healthy. And the next thing you know, they show 5 months later, the next PET scan, no cancer in the PET scan. None. This was a woman who had a death sentence and nothing to hope for. So I point that out that, a lot of people kind of give up, and they if your medical white coat doctor doesn't have an answer, you think that's the end of the world. This is the end of your life. And what I'm here to tell you is doctors are great. You break your arm, you go see a doctor. There's even you get breast cancer, you go do whatever you'd like to do, but don't limit your understanding. And this is what you preach too. Don't limit your understanding to what they have to say, because guess what? Medical schools were built by pharmaceutical companies. Their entire curriculum was built by pharmaceutical companies. So they come out, they know very much how to do surgery, and they know what drug to prescribe. So if there is no drug to prescribe, they're not going to tell you. And even if there's a natural supplement, they're not going to learn about it. So, we know things like glutathione. Glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. It is the detoxifying pathway. So I was actually taking glutathione orally and via IV infusion prior to knowing anything about the patches. Well, guess what? This stem cell activation patch, it actually elevates your glutathione 30% every single day. That's more than the IV that I used to spend hundreds of dollars on. And what happens when the people who live the longest in the world, they have the highest levels of glutathione. There's an actual correlation to how long we live. And glutathione helps to maintain those cytokine levels, supports lymphocytes. It is essential for T cell growth. It prevents oxidative stress. It causes apoptosis, that's cell death that we need. And it is, and ferroptosis, which is linked to disease, is a method being looked at to kill cancer cells. So fantastic. Things like vitamin C. I mean, Linus Pauling was a Nobel Prize winner for his research in vitamin C. And they're actually looking at mechanisms, very high doses, that increase levels of hydrogen peroxide to kill viruses, bacteria, and cancer cells. Even magnetic cardiography, they have found that the shape of the field of the heart can actually help predict disease very early and can possibly predict breast cancer years before the pathology manifests. Our inventor and owner, his daughter got cancer, and it was thyroid cancer. And she basically, they wanted to throw all of the traditional chemo, all of this at her. She was very young, actually. I think she was only 25 years old. And they began doing patching and natural approaches. And the doctor was very upset. Doctors get very upset when you try these alternative approaches. I don't have to tell you that. They actually went back after all of this alternative approach, and there was no cancer. And the doctor still wanted to take out her thyroid. And she said, no, we're not doing that. A year later, they go back, the blood works perfect, there's no cancer. And the doctor says, well, that's what I had to recommend. And the point is, there's always alternatives that you can go discover and find out. And I just, I had been told there's no solution for chronic fatigue syndrome. We're sorry. There's no solution for fibromyalgia. We're sorry. There's no solution for POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia. We're sorry. You're going to have to faint your whole life, and you're going to have to be on a medicine that increases your blood pressure. That sounds like a really bad idea to me, but that's what I was having to do since, my first autoimmune was 96, 99, 2005, and I'm not on any, I have not had to take any of the pharmaceuticals, that blood pressure increasing medicine, since I began patching 16 months ago. I saw immediate improvement in my husband's early Alzheimer's. Nothing helps with that. Even the best drug they think they have on the market actually causes brain bleed in 50% of my husband's APOE4 types. But I have to tell you, my husband improved dramatically in the first week. Nobody has hope for people with Alzheimer's, really. There's really nothing. And again, we had tried really everything, but I want you to know that he went from being a zombie and really a fragment of his former self. Like, he was no longer engaging in conversation. He was sleeping the day away. He was no longer trying to be funny. He was no longer his personality. And in the very first day and forward patching in that first week, he did not nap at all. He began to talk like a dam broke, and he had 2 years worth of stuff to say. He was chattier. He was with it. He wasn't asking me the same question over and over again. That was a nice thing. And he was back to being funny and flirty in his original personality. His best recorded sleep, he went from 15 minutes deep sleep to an hour and 25 minutes in the second week. His energy was up. My energy was up. And he began to regain skills like whistling and drumming to the beat. His blood pressure dropped 37 points, actually. He regained his sense of smell, which he'd lost 15 years ago. That's an early warning indicator for Alzheimer's. So, oh, his bald hair, his spot started to close up. His hair came in darker. My hair came in darker, actually. I went to the hairdresser just this past week, and I have to tell you, I had almost no gray hairs. Like, I normally, if like before patching I would go 3 weeks and I think, I don't think she colored my hair right. Like, there's no way 3 weeks in I could have to need a hair color. Now I'm getting to 6 weeks and I'm like, oh, I'm already there. I don't really even need to go. So really kind of cool to see, not just not losing hair, more hair, baby hairs, stronger hairs, and not the gray hair. So my husband's, all of those things that he regained have stayed where they are. Other things have declined. I'm not here to tell you that he's cured of Alzheimer's. He's not. But I am here to tell you that all the things that he did regain and that he got back, including his personality and his flirtiness again, all of that's still there. So that's just a lot. There's just so much possibility. And I think I just don't want people to give up hope.
Yeah, I agree with you. So wow, thank you for sharing all of that, because it's really interesting how, different cases of cancer and different cases, like in your husband's case, it's helping many people across a wider range of different scenarios and things like that. And like you said, I agree with you where you said that the doctor. Yes, we're not bagging doctors. I'm not here to bag them, but they're there to prescribe, operate and prescribe, and they're not going to prescribe something that's natural. Let's call it what it is, because it is a huge business, as we know. Now, the thing is, I wrote down a few questions, I guess, here. Now, one of the questions you already answered, but a lot of I think you'll be able to answer it, or you probably did already answer it. But a lot of women who go through breast cancer, who have to have a double mastectomy, they also have to have, most likely, a hysterectomy. So what that does is it puts women in an early menopause, and then they're prescribed with I don't know what they are. They're all these different medications to balance out your hormones. Your body is going through a dramatic change because it no longer has, I'm sure the breast produced something, even if you're not a mother, it's doing something, it's changing. Like, I know my breasts hurt when I'm 53, I still have my period, and my breasts hurt when I get my period. So imagine now your breasts aren't there. You don't have, you had to have a full hysterectomy. So your body's just gone through a massive change. How does this stem cell help someone like that? Because it's not just going through menopause. You've got nothing. You're blessed. You're just going through, your menopause, and that's it. As opposed to someone who's being pushed into an early menopause due to a hysterectomy. How does the stem cell help those people, help those women?
Yeah. So one of the things I love about our patches is that they help the body come to homeostasis. They're optimizing. If you're low, they're going to bring you high. If you're high, they're going to bring you down back to normal. And so whether that's a hormone imbalance, it can even be a thyroid. This is kind of amazing. There's a doctor that I work with closely. I have 4 doctors wearing these patches, by the way. But one of the doctors that's a dear friend of mine, she was taking thyroid medicine. And after patching, she no longer needed thyroid medicine. I was taking bioidentical hormones. After patching, I need less bioidentical hormones. There are people that have no thyroid, and they were taking thyroid medicine, and now they don't need thyroid medicine. I do not understand that. I don't understand how that's possible, but that is what's happened. So one of the things I would say is that when your body is given, your stem cells can do anything. They made you. So what could they not do? I think they could, they can optimize your body. And so the optimization of whatever is lacking, you don't even have to know it. This is what I love about these patches. What is menopause? What are we really doing when we do a full hysterectomy? What are we really doing when we completely do a mastectomy? Do we really understand the impacts of that? No, but our body does. Do we understand what we need to do to heal that? No, but our body does. There's a wisdom in our body that these tap into, and they go to work, and they go where they're needed most. So one of the problems with our patches is that you can't tell them what to do, right? You can't put it on and say, okay, I want you to go fix my husband's Alzheimer's. I want you to fix my this or that. Like, they're going to go in, they're going to find the inflammation in the body, which is why, by the way, we have a great patch that I love that is an anti-inflammation patch. It was the best-selling patch until the stem cell activation patch came out. And what I love about that patch is it also reduces inflammation and stress. It balances the autonomic nervous system. It calms the brain, balances the hormones, improves the immune system, and is anti-aging. It's called the happy patch and the longevity patch because it is the one that is actually, it is helping the telomeres, along with another one that helps telomeres. And so when you start to reduce inflammation, which is what's eating up your stem cells, when you reduce that while you're activating your stem cells, now your stem cells can really go to work and do amazing things. You know, I have watched, my mom had a hysterectomy, and I probably shouldn't tell that into the whole world. Shh, quiet, everybody, don't say. It's only around the world, but I will tell you that, you know, her doctor said you don't need any kind of, you know, hormones. You know, you're 83, you don't need anything. Well, guess what? She does. She does. She needs them to sleep. She needs them. There are other things that these hormones do that they may, you know, most regular white coats are not experts in hormones. They're not experts in thyroid. They're not experts in, they're just not. And I'm sorry, but you almost have to go naturopathic or someone who's really specialist in hormones to understand that. I also want to say this. One of the neatest patches that we have is a set of patches. It's actually a double set. It looks, you wear two of them. And they dramatically reduce pain. So I have to tell you, they dramatically reduce pain so much that I did not believe them. I couldn't believe that putting these two little Band-Aid things on my body could actually take my pain away that dramatically, that instantly. We're talking in 15 seconds. 15 seconds, it just went away. This is pain that I had had for 5 months. I just decided this must be the day that I'm actually out of pain. I had broken my foot. I had sprained my ankle. I was sure this must be the day. But then I took the patches off because you wear them 12 hours on and you take them off 12 hours later. You basically don't want your body to get used to the signal, right? And as soon as I took it off, 5 minutes after taking them off, my ankle started throbbing again. I had a little woman who was 74 years old. I asked her what her pain level was. It was a 15 on a scale of 1 to 10. Her pain was a 15. It had been there for years. And I bet you have people listening who have also been in pain that long, or, you know, from surgery scars, or just the cancer, you know, the pain of that. You know, who gets the best pain meds in the world? Cancer patients. But guess what? Within 1 minute, we dropped her pain to 0, 15 to 0. And it stayed there for that whole week. And I talked to her a week later, and she said to me, Darlene, it is not an understatement to say you have saved my life. I did not want to live anymore. And this has changed everything for me. I'm out and with my kids. My kids are crying because they're so happy to see me out and about laughing. You know, getting out of pain is huge for your mental health. It's huge for your ability to recover. And when my mom had heart surgery, and that, you know, she came out, the doctors had given her the morphine and all the things that they could give her. And she was at 15 pain still, and they got her down to 8, but that was all they could give her. You know, we can't give you any more, or you're going to stop breathing, you know? And I said, Mom, I'm going to patch you up. So I patched her up with these pain relief patches, took her down to 0. She never asked for a Tylenol or another thing again. I kept waiting kind of for it to like wear off, or for her to say, okay, I need something. Never, ever did in the whole week after heart surgery. And the way that happens is that, you know, most people don't understand pain is actually blocked energy. It's stuck. And so what we're doing is we're working on moving that energy through, changing the signal to the brain, and actually sedating that excess energy in the connective tissue to reduce the inflammation. And actually within just 5 minutes, that you can actually see on thermal energy, on imaging, that the body cools almost more than a degree in temperature. So here you have a drug-free, non-addictive, no side effect source of reducing pain. Now, there's a little challenge to these pain relief patches. You have to get them in the right spot. The other patches you can really put anywhere. You can put them on your big toe or the tip of your nose. It doesn't matter. They're going to work. Although for pain relief, they typically work better if they're put on the spot of pain. These pain relief patches really need a particular protocol for placement, and that's where I come in, and some of the people that do this, I became a stem cell technology consultant because there has been nothing more rewarding in my entire life than helping people get out of pain and feel better and thrive, and both emotionally and physically thrive. This has been the silver lining to my husband's Alzheimer's, because I would never have found these without him and researching and wanting stem cells for my husband, which means I would not have probably ever discovered getting out of my own autoimmune disorders or potentially lifting from my own depression. So I just am so grateful that there is this approach. And I would say this, there are different patches. There's a patch for sleep. There's a patch for energy. There's a patch that helps you stop feeling hungry and having sugar cravings. That's changed my life from somebody who literally went, probably since high school, has had sugar and salt cravings and addictions. I think most of us are sugar addicts, really, because it's just so tempting. But to have to, I managed, okay, I have to say I worked hard at it, but I was white knuckling my way through every day, right? I had to really use discipline. You only have so much discipline in your day. So I worked hard at it, but these patches have just changed that. I no longer have hunger and sugar cravings. So I'm not emotionally eating. I'm not stress eating. I'm able to stop when I'm satiated. I'm not thinking of my next sugar fix at all anymore. So I just really love that. There are a variety of patches. They do a lot of different things. And what's neat is they're so safe that we can take them off after 12 hours of us, and we can put them on our pets, dogs, cats. We can put them on, I've seen them on fish bowls, tortoises, birds, horses, you name it. And I have amazing stories. I have a story of a friend who started patching her dog before she patched herself, because, that was her priority. And that's where she began. There was a dog that was paralyzed. The vet said, sorry, there's nothing we can do. 3 days of patching, and the dog was running around like a puppy again. A goat that was on their deathbed, and now it's better. Another cat, a dog. I have endless, most of us who are patching patch our pets. And so I've seen things like, gut issues, which are really problematic for people of all kinds of diseases, gut, the microbiome, the brain gut connection, all of that. But when you can go in and start to fix the gut, that's huge. And I have a family member who within 3 weeks fixed their 6-year microscopic colitis. 3 weeks. But guess what? Her dog also had the gut issues fixed, because she kept taking her patches off and putting them in her pet bed, and the dog would sleep there. And in 3 weeks, the dog's issues, who had been there for life, also fixed their gut issues. So really fun. I think the only thing I would say in terms of being careful is I've had people who within a week of patching needed to drop their blood pressure medicine in half. They needed to change and come off of their cholesterol medicine altogether. They didn't need it anymore. So you need to kind of track your stats, because your body is fixing itself. And when it starts to fix itself, all of these artificial meds are no longer needed. And what a great thing. We've seen people drop insulin entirely and drop their insulin in half very quickly. A1Cs drop immediately. You're wearing a glucose monitor. You can actually watch the difference. So I am incredibly grateful to the owner and inventor. He has got over 150 patents in regenerative science and healing and health. And he has a heart of gold to help and heal other people. It is an honor to be in a company that takes care of others first and helps, is part of a community where really we're all about helping other people heal. And it's the most generous, beautiful tribe of people I could ever be a part of.
Wow, that's just, I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, that just everything you're saying is just, just in awe, because I'm thinking, it is all about healing and how, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we heal ourselves and not stay sick. and like you said, you don't want years and years of pain or discomfort or anything like that, because we're not put on this earth to be, suffering, our bodies to be suffering. However, having said that about our bodies, and I agree with you, our bodies aren't there to kill us. It's always there to make us live, and heal itself. So why not put something back in it that is natural?
Grace, I want to point out, you make such a great point that, our environment, our bodies are an environment. And just because you may have gotten rid of, we all have cancer cells floating around. The question is, are they going to go crazy and keep producing, or are we able to contain them and fight them off with our immune system? And so the question I have for people who are now cancer-free, so to speak, is, what have you done? And you talk about this in your podcast, in many of them. What are you doing to change the environment so that you don't get it again, so that you don't have a recurrence? You really do need to take a look at what is the environment that your body is in. What are you doing to up that immune system, calm your anxiety, get to the root cause of whatever your challenges may be, whether those are emotional or physical or whatever, and really take care of yourself first and foremost, and fix that environment in a go forward state to be your healthiest self.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of my go-to now is be that version of yourself, because I was just speaking to the lady in the last podcast. You're being given a second chance when you're being diagnosed with anything really that's life-threatening, and it could be anything from autoimmune to cancer to Alzheimer's, because that takes away your livelihood as well. So and yeah, I'm all for you fixed it, but don't go backwards, go forward. So and listening in on this, I was gonna say, because you're like, oh, we got patches for everything, and I'm thinking, does that mean I've got to wear 15 different patches? Because I'm not one to have it all, but it's like that's, I guess my question is can you have more than one patch at the same time?
Yes, you can. So you don't have to, unless you're impatient like I am, or you really want to target all of these things. They each, the mama patch that we talked about, that stem cell activation patch that does the GHKCU, that patch is going to work and ultimately do most of what all the other patches do, but it's going to happen in its own space and time. And there are times when we need to hit something quick and hard with everything we've got at it. So you may need to throw the kitchen sink at it because your life is on the line. Now, they're not that expensive, so it's really affordable. The other thing I would say is, there are day patches and night patches. They actually complement each other as opposed to competing with each other. So they actually help the other patches work more effectively. The one patch that elevates the epithelium peptide is amazing for the skin. It increases collagen. Actually, so does the stem cell activation patch, increases collagen. Collagen is the most abundant protein in our body, actually. So when you are increasing your body's production of collagen, you are improving the health of all of the cells. When you're improving your mitochondrial health, you're improving the health of all of your cells. And one of the things that I know a lot of your readers, our listeners are experiencing or have experienced is scar tissue. So scar tissue can hurt on the inside and on the outside. And one of the you can see on my website, the remodeling that is available through this stem cell activation patch. The scars that are even years old can begin to flatten and look so much better. Faces that were wrinkled and décolletages, and people begin looking like their child. It's just really remarkable because that's what collagen and the, when you start improving the health of your organs, well, guess what? The skin is your largest organ. So you do start to look younger, but that's an outward reflection of the inner improvement of your organ health. And so yay, vanity, right? We look better. But what's really yay is that, our internal organs are so much healthier. There's there's a picture on the website of 4 bulging discs in a spine. And you actually look and you can see the C3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and T1 of the vertebrae, and they are looking bad, bulging discs. And you could go to a doctor and they'd say, there's nothing we can do. There's no surgery. There's no medicine. And yet you look at the after picture and 14 months later, that spine looks straight. The bulging discs are gone. So that's just the power of stem cells. And, the only requirement in when you wear these patches is that you drink water, good quality water, half of your body weight in ounces in water every day. And why is that? Well, we talked about how that stem cell activation patch elevates your glutathione. That's your body's master antioxidant and detoxifier. It's going to start dumping toxins out of your lymph nodes and fat cells, and you're going to need to get it flushed out, right? There was a wonderful, beautiful soul, Marcy Preble. We love her. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 3 in 2017. She had chemo, radiation, and a full mastectomy. 6 months later, it metastasized into her skin. She was depressed. She had PTSD. She had anxiety. And her friend, Dr. Rhonda Donahue, brought her 10 of the stem cell activation patches and said, put these on. And Marcy said, I am dying and you are bringing me Band-Aids? Are you kidding me? And she said, trust me, I've looked at all the research. Well, she did trust her. So she did. And in just literally 2 days, she started to taste the chemotherapy metal taste coming out in her mouth. Day 5, her skin was softer. Day 10, her PTSD started to go away and she began to feel so much better. So now she's been in remission 2 years. She looks, you can see her on the website. She looks like her daughter. She looks like a different person altogether. And she's just amazing. So it's really a powerful solution. And unfortunately, there will be a lot of people in your listening audience that will say, that sounds too good to be true. I don't believe it. And I understand that. I really didn't either. I really do understand that incredulity. But I would say this, there is a money back guarantee. The patches in the United States, that stem cell activation patch, I can get it for you wholesale prices, $99 for a 1 month supply. That is extraordinary. That anti-inflammation patch, I can get it for you $49 for a month supply. So you can pay retail at $150, but don't do that. Let me help you get them at a much discounted price. It's really worth it. Money back guarantee. Why not? Do you really have anything to lose? Most people, 80% of people experience something in 3 to 6 weeks. But I will tell you this, these big, hairy issues take time. Rejuvenation and stem regeneration. I don't want anybody thinking, other than the pain relief, we can get pain relief very quickly. But the things that we're talking about, they take time. They take a month for every decade you are old, 6 months a year. You need to sort of set on really giving it some time to get to the root cause and run around and get to all the causes that it wants to hit first, because you don't get to direct where it goes. And that's why sometimes we patch with these supplemental patches, because while I wanted to go do these things, I needed a good night's sleep and we have a sleep patch. Or while we're doing all these things, I'd really like to get rid of my rosacea. And there's the patch that improves that epithelium peptide, which is so good for the organs and the skin. Also good for sleep, by the way. And by the way, I had chronic fatigue and I really needed energy. And so those energy enhanced, the ability to enhance my energy by improving mitochondrial function and beta oxidation and actually reducing fatigue and muscle soreness, that was huge for me. By the way, it also burned an extra 300 or 600 calories a day. So I was losing weight and just a lot of really fabulous different patches. So no, you don't need, you can just do the one patch. You can just do that stem cell activation patch. Although I would say this, if you have an issue of any kind, I would really strongly recommend the anti-inflammation patch with the stem cell activation patch, at least those two. Start with those two. Most would say those two, like the first stem cell activation patch, that's good. The stem cell activation patch with that anti-inflammation patch is better. And the stem cell activation, anti-inflammation, and that glutathione patch, that's the best trio, because those three are a powerful and wicked combination. Those three in 2 months of daily wear will knock out spiked proteins that you get from the COVID vaccination or the COVID. And if people don't know about spike proteins, learn about spike proteins, because you have to do something to get rid of them. Otherwise, they are in there messing with your gut, your lungs, your brain, and your heart. So I love that there are other alternative approaches to getting rid of spike proteins, but I love the fact that I'm getting rid of them through a thing that's doing all these other wonderful things. It's great.
All at the same time, so which is amazing. And yeah, it's interesting because it's not just one thing. It's so many different parts of us that we want to heal. And like you said, someone's probably sitting there going, but I need it for this, and I need it for this, and I need it for this, and I need it for that. And that's probably where you got to speak to the experts and not make up your own mind. Because, if I look at it, I just recently came back from Peru, and I had a massive amount of antibiotics, and I know that's doing a huge amount of damage as we speak, because I feel it. And it's quite funny because I didn't feel it initially, but I'm feeling it now. And that's what antibiotics does. It starts kicking in about anywhere between 1 and 4 months later, and I'm starting to feel it now. So, but I had no choice at the time. You're in a foreign country, so you do.
Yeah. I want to point out one last testimonial that I think is worth hearing, because, I was talking about how you need to give it time. There was an amazing guy named Bob Campbell. He was in his 70s, and he wanted the patches to help with his knee pain and his foot pain. He had 7 foot surgeries and 5 knee surgeries. And Grace, this man was in excruciating pain. Well, he started patching, and he started with, I think, the stem cell activation patch. I don't think he initially started with the anti-inflammation patch. I think it was just the stem cell initially. I think eventually he added the anti-inflammation patch. But within 7 to 10 days, he noticed that his energy levels doubles, but he was still in pain. Energy doubled, good, but didn't take care of my pain. 6 to 7 weeks, he noticed dramatic improvement of his sleep. And he had serious sleep issues since he was a sophomore, where he was up for several hours each night. So dramatic improvement in sleep, but still same pain. 3.5 months, he noticed his breathing was better. He noticed actually he had prostate cancer. His prostate had been removed. He needed a pill to urinate. For 12 years, he had used a pill to urinate. But he noticed at the 3.5 months that, in fact, twice he'd actually gone to the emergency room when he didn't take a pill. It was that big of a deal if he didn't take a pill. Well, all of a sudden at 3.5 months, he did not have to take the pill to urinate, and he never had to take it again. Still had pain in his knee and feet, though. 6 months, his energy is now through the roof. He's actually noticed his sight has improved, his hearing has improved, his sleeping has improved. He's now sleeping 6.5 hours through the night, never like he had ever done before. But he still had this knee and foot pain. Finally, at 7.5 months, he had no pain in his knees, no pain in his feet. He noticed the arthritis in his hands went away. He actually could wear his wedding ring again for the first time in years. No swelling, and none of that pain has ever returned. Also, he kept patching. 18 to 20 months later, he had the precancerous scabs. He had been a mailman. He had these scabs on his hand that had to burn off. He used to cry through the procedure, and he'd had them burned off twice before, and they had grown back a third time. And he was supposed to schedule to actually have them removed this third time. But he was putting it off because it hurt so much, and he really just couldn't bear it. But he noticed somewhere at the 18 to 20 mark, he looked down at his hands and they were just gone. They had just disappeared, except one. And then at the 3-year point of patching with the stem cell activation patch, he was reading and he was like, gosh, what's going on with my vision? And then he realized he didn't have his glasses on. It was the first time he'd been able to read without glasses since 3rd grade. So, there's continued cumulative improvements when you give your body the stem cell activation, the GHKCU, the growth factors, all, the increased telomeres, you stop the decline and you start turning things around. We can either get better every day or we can age every day. And so I personally, I would rather be reverse aging every day.
Oh, I would too. I think, why not? I want to start looking younger, not older, for sure. But yeah, no, that the testimonials coming out are just amazing. And like you said, it's a broad range here that we're talking about as well. And it's pain related, it's physical as well, or as well as mentally, which is amazing. And like I said, I'll keep saying it. I've always been intrigued with stem cells. I love, one of my mentors talked about, he's in the initial book about stem cells, and you know what I mean, his protocol was different than what we're discussing, but it was still stem cells. So, but one of the things I think I wanted to ask is, but I think you answered that one, which was how long do you use it for? And you've already answered that. Now you do, like, before we get into how to get the patches and who to contact, because we, like we're saying, we want to go through the right channel. Don't go and just try and Google it and go to Dr. Google and find them on any which site. But we'll get into that. But the first question is quite interesting, that was, who do you not recommend the stem cell patches to?
Yeah, there's really only one type of person that I would say has to be incredibly careful and lock arms with their doctor. And that's anyone that has an organ transplant. That's because your body's immune system is going to get revved up so well. And usually they're on an immune suppressant. So I have someone, actually, I have a person who has one kidney left and was in so much pain and had so little energy. They were crawling to their bathroom, and they were trying to pack out, and they were just, so many things were wrong. Legally blind, achy. We started patching her with not the stem cell activation patch. I basically said, we're not going to put that one on you until you are with your new doctor. You've moved, you've checked in with your new doctor, and you are getting your immune cells checked regularly, because I don't want that immune system of yours to be boosted so high that it starts to attack your alien organ. But I will tell you that just the other patches that we used, which were, the pain relief patch, we did the patch that elevates the epithelium, we did the patch that knocks out hunger and sugar cravings, we did the energy patch. She called me and left me a 7-minute voice text that said, "Oh my gosh, Darlene, I packed out 3 rooms. I feel great. This is the best I have felt in forever. I cannot even believe how much a difference this has made. I cannot thank you enough. And this has just changed my life." So it's wonderful to be able to help people like that. But I would say the company would say, we just don't want to take the chance. I would tell you that I know there are people that have only one kidney that is an alien kidney that are patching and doing well. But I would say that you just lock arms very closely and you consult with your doctor. Really, anybody can consult with their doctor. All you have to ask them is, are you fine with light therapy? How do you feel about light therapy? Most doctors would say, I don't really care, light therapy, do whatever you want. Go to infrared sauna, go out in the sun. Really, it's fine. But most are not familiar. Yeah, but you can do this. You can go to PubMed and you can type in GHKCU. And you can see all of these studies. You can actually read the studies. You can go on my website and you can actually click and see all of the 90 clinical studies that have proven the efficacy of our patches. There's a book here by Dr. John Harmon called How to Reverse Aging, a comprehensive guide to copper peptides. That's GHKCU. This book goes chapter by chapter around all the different things that copper peptide does. And just the table of contents alone talks about the immune system, the skin, the cardiovascular system, athletic performance, metabolic regulation, the brain, neurodegeneration, cognitive function, the healing power, activating stem cells for regeneration, epigenetics, turning them on and off, right? All of that. And he had a right branch bundle blockage of his heart. There's nothing you can do for that. That's with you forever, and it decreases your lifespan dramatically. After a year and a half or maybe less, his right branch bundle blockage had disappeared after patching. And the doctor said, that's impossible. I don't know how that happened. So yeah. It's really remarkable.
Wow. And it's crazy how they say, I don't know how to, it's one of those things. They'll brush it off. It's just, one of those things because they don't want to sort of say, oh, hang on, what have you done to actually heal yourself? Which is what we're talking about. Like, we're always talking about opening up and looking at other ways to heal yourself. We're not sitting here saying this is the be all end all. However, this, if with something else, will actually, the studies show that will help you. And again, like, I know someone who has been told she's going to be doing chemo for the rest of her life. If this stops being the chemo for the rest of her life, then so be it, Now, Darlene, where do people, we want to know where people go. We don't want, as I said before, we don't want to send these people, to Google Doctor and things like that and putting in the word stem cell, because you can put in the word stem cell in Google and you have so much pros and cons and this and that. You don't know where to go. I certainly wouldn't know where to go. When I read, my mentor was doing it again. He was doing a different way, but and I don't want to, take away what you're saying, because I think it's perfect, the patches, because he did it through, I think, IV. But he was saying how something that was he had an injury in his shoulder. And not only did it help the injury in his shoulder, but he realized that he was jumping out of bed. So, so that's what we're talking about. So you might be fixing one thing and realize, hang on a minute, it's actually helping increase, whether it's like you said, someone who's going through, chemo radiation, they might have that bit of energy. It'll take away the pain. It might be doing other things in the background where you go, oh, well, I still got to fix this part, but hey, I realized that I've got more energy, because speaking with someone who does chemo radiation, some of them knocks them out for a week or more. So having that life back, having that ability to hang out with their partners and their family and their kids, as opposed to use just give me 7 days and for 7 days I'll be okay. But 7 days I won't be. You can sort of start, increasing that energy level and being able to be active and rest up and everything else while you're going through that, till the point where, if it's meant to be, your cancer will be cancer-free and things like that. And then, having said that, we continue the process of making sure that it doesn't come back. So where do people go to get these patches?
Yeah. So the website is IamReverseAging.com. That's IamReverseAging.com. IamReverseAging.com. You'll see my picture. You'll see an overview of the patches. There's several videos on how they work. There's more information than you can shake a stick at, actually. I mean, there's videos on the horses and how they're working on animals. There's videos, testimonials from NFL players and doctors. And, there's a ton on there. But the quickest way, just link to me, just contact me, I'll do a free consultation and help you out, talk through. Do you just want to do, if you have no issues, let's just do the stem cell activation patch, and I'll show you how to get the best deal and wholesale prices on that. It's not particularly intuitive how to get the wholesale prices with the corporate website. The products are guaranteed. There's really no risk. And I do want to say that there are so many people who have gone through the chemo, who have used the patches. And one of the things they love is just that the brain fog, the chemo
brain, yeah.
It dissipates, and they feel just so much more clear-headed, so much better sleep and energy, and all of that pain reduction that you talked about. So I would love to help you, your friends. This is not my day job, by the way. I actually am still a director of client services for a technology company, but this is my passion, and helping people feel better. It really serves my soul. It's what's helping me as a care provider find joy in the midst of grief. I mean, my husband is dying of Alzheimer's, right? It is happening. He's estimated to have 2 years left. He's 68 years old. This is not how I expected my life to be. So I have to, just like many of your audience, intentionally build moments of joy in the midst of grief or in the midst of very big change, and not let fear take over my life, and not live in guilt or sorrow or whatever, right? So find what it is that helps. This is the salve of my soul, and that's why I spend time and share, because those of you that are doing podcasters are so inspiring to me. Your podcasters are so wonderful for the world, and so inspiring, so vulnerable, so transparent. I think they're just heroic, and I am amazed that I'm talking on a world stage, because I was the person that didn't post ever. I was the person who, literally, if you looked at my Facebook account, you knew I had a daughter that graduated from the United States Naval Academy, and then I had a daughter that graduated from the United States Air Force Academy. That's kind of all you knew since high school. Like, that was it. And then I have this tragedy occur in my life, and all of a sudden, I'm now posting because I want to reach out and touch people in a way that's very positive.
Yeah, my husband says you take your mess and turn it into your message. And and I always say that once something happens, you are at service to others. So you must provide that service to others. It's to be shared. Always. So I really appreciate your time and all the education that I received. And I'm sure my listeners and my viewers will have been so educated on stem cells, and not just the word and, what does it mean? I will make sure that I have all your links attached so people can definitely reach out. I would encourage them to reach out to you and explain exactly what's going on again before they go out and just try and find it, because with anything that I've known of, I get people go, oh, but if I buy it through here, and it's like, well, you can buy it through there. I'm not buying it through there. I'm buying it through the source, because I don't know what's out there. So I would.
Like, there's no better deal than I can give you anywhere out there. And you can buy directly from the website without, if like you just don't want to talk to me, you just want to do it on your own, you can just buy from the website. I will typically still send you an email that says, you got to drink water, drink lots of water, drink half your body weight in ounces in water. I'm here if you have any questions.
No, but I would rather that they come to you and they explain exactly what they're trying to repair in their bodies, in their mind, in their spirit, as opposed to just guessing. Because like I said, you spoke about so many different, patches that someone who doesn't know, I would have gone, yeah, I need it because I have sugar cravings. I need it because I can't sleep. I need it because of this, and I need it. And you're probably going, Grace, you don't need all of that. You just need X, Y, Z, and not A to Z, and things like that. Because the thing is also, you don't want to be patched all over that you're overwhelmed and you're not doing it right. Like you said, you can put the patches for specific things wherever you want, but there are specific patches for specific places to be placed, and not just willy-nilly anywhere. So is there anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
No, just thank you for all that you do, Grace. You are such a gift to the world, and I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you, Darlene. I really do, because this was, like I said, I believe that the universe brings things. I believe in, in serendipity. I believe that, there's something greater than us, and you happen to come through on, and I will discuss what what I would like to do going forward with yourself, because it's something that, on a different path, for someone else, I want to make sure that they get as much information. But it's something that I was looking at. I was Googling this, and believe it or not, I was looking at it from America. But when you said this can be anywhere in the world, it was like, wow. Well, for that person, first and foremost, who can't travel, this is perfect. So, I think the universe brought you in my path at the right time. And I know that it's definitely something that my viewers and listeners should really, really take a good look at it, and really possibly look into stem cell therapy, because we're saying it doesn't affect you what you're doing, but it could help. It'll affect you because if you no longer need blood pressure tablets, if you no longer need, to do chemo or radiation, it affects you in a good way. But definitely look into it, because it's something that I think it will really help. And what we always say, let that open those doors and allow other ways to heal. So thank you so much.
No prescription required. It gets shipped to your doorstep, to your mailbox, and it will change the outcome of your future. It really will. It's just,
and I think that's what we need. Absolutely. I think that's what we need. So you can find Darlene on her Facebook page, which is darlene.bennett.green. I will make sure I put all those links, as well as her website, iamreverseaging.com. Thank you again, Darlene. It's been a pleasure. That's absolute pleasure to have you on my podcast.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you. And for everyone else, thank you for listening and watching. And like always, I wish you so much love and light.